The head coach of the Boston Celtics, it's Brad Stevens joining us now. Hi, Brad.
Hey, guys. What's up?
How you doing, Coach?
Good. You?
Good. I've been doing a lot of lip reading in this town, especially like with the quarterback, what he says on the sideline. And seems like you were a little unhappy with replay the other day. Was that unfairly dubbed in, or were you saying some bad words out there?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and review the tape. I told him I thought yesterday it was digitally edited, but yeah, try explaining that one to your 14-year-old and your 10-year-old.
It's easy to read. I mean, this is getting crazy with that. I mean, you're pretty frustrated with this. A lot of people are.
I think that it's just you just have to have the recognition that there's still, even in a replay with slow motion, which people can still look at the play differently. You can it's still a lot of judgment in those plays. So, it's one play a game at most for your team, one play for their team. There's been multiple games this year where neither team has used a challenge. So I think you just focus on what you can control. I do think the Clippers game in particular is the one that stings still because we used it and it took away our timeout because we didn't get it. And that's a killer at that time with them, potentially coming back, and they ultimately did. And you want to be able to stop the clock, but you don't want to give up your ability to advance the ball. So that the losing a timeout for the challenge is the stuff that I'm getting the most used to, and win the challenge so that you don't potentially lose those is probably the key question to ask.
We're talking with Brad Stevens, head coach of the Celtics. Coach Gordon Hayward spoke to the media the other day. He seemed to be in good spirits. What's going to be the next step for him in his recovery? I know that he was doing some contact stuff the other day.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Just more practice. Tomorrow he'll go through a pretty decent workout, and then Friday before our game, when we shoot around, he'll probably stay and do some contact with the coaches. When we practice on Sunday, he'll just continue to ramp it up, and we'll just keep going, and we'll see where it takes us. He's getting better. The hand looks good, and so he's definitely on pace or ahead of pace.
How's Marcus Smart feeling?
Not good. Under the weather, not going to play. Hit the oblique on Sunday in New York, and then has come down with, being sick. So I don't know exactly what he's dealing with, other than I know that he's just really under the weather. So he didn't even come in this morning. He won't come to the game tonight. He won't play.
I know that a lot has been written and talked about some of the slow starts you've had this year in games and maybe offensively. Do you feel like you're closer to maybe figuring that out?
No, we haven't. I just don't think we've done a good job of that. It's a really interesting team because I think that we've struggled in both of our groups in the first quarter for the most part in the last 10 games or so, or since the West Coast road trip, and but our fourth quarters have been terrific, and so I think that there's a lot to glean from that. Number one is our urgency to get the best shot possible goes way up, and we just need to play with that for 48 minutes. And I think that's there's some things that we got to do better as coaches, and calling actions that maybe we're saving till later. And being able to at least throw a few of those in there early on. And at the same time, I think we have to play with that same urgency to get a great look every time down the floor. Because when you're playing really good teams, and this week is going to really challenge us. Miami's playing great, Denver's playing great. You don't have the margin for error to ease into a game, and there's no such thing. As the season goes on, you got to maximize every possession, and we've got to be better at that. And I think there's one thing: when we get fully healthy, we will be. But at the same time, we can't lean on that. We've got to make sure that we're playing better.
Coach, we didn't talk to you since before Thanksgiving. I just want to ask you something real quick about last week. And you've talked to us before about Kyrie, and you've coached in this league for a while now. I think you know the dynamic of players and how guys keep in touch. And a lot was made of, the embraces and, the guy left, he came back, whether it was Tatum or, Smart. And Marcus said something about, it's time to stop talking about it. Do you get the feeling that your team senses that's, it's time to flip the page and just concentrate on this team and players that aren't here?
It's for us, the realization that he wasn't going to be a part of this year's team again was pretty early, right? I mean, we knew that, or we had a real good sense of that, soon after the season, and so we moved on. Like, you go and you evaluate the season, and then you find out what you did wrong, what you did right, what you want to do, what you think your team might look like, and then we just move on to our next team. And just like he's got to, when he decides to move on to Brooklyn, he's got to move on to his next team. Doesn't mean you didn't spend 2 years together. Doesn't mean that you didn't go through a lot of ups and downs together. And there's a relationship that's built through that. And so I get, I understand. I understand the media's focus on it, or the outside focus on it. But I don't think it's not healthy of us to do anything but move on. We've been focused on this year's team and this year's group since before we knew who it was going to be, and then once we found out exactly who it was going to be, that heightened that focus even more. And you can't dwell on what on guys that aren't here anymore.
Are you shocked by the response you got for telling everybody that the Jell-O pretzel salad is your favorite at Thanksgiving?
This is something new.
Slack, huh?
What's up with that?
So I think we got some thumbs up. I got a little bit of flack, and I'm just shocked that I was actually hoping that you guys would stand up for it a little bit.
We did.
People don't pay attention to our show. Like we did this years ago.
We got, I know. We were way ahead of the game here. But anybody that's tried it, I haven't heard anybody that said no, I don't like it. But clearly, I didn't realize that when I said, hey, what's your unique Thanksgiving dish that you like, that was actually going to matter or actually be talked about. That's a slow news day. Usually you would think the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, there's more going on than that.
It's actually a lazy question, isn't it?
What are people talking about?
Isn't it a lazy question by a reporter, though, around the holiday? Like, hey, Coach, what kind of pie you like? What's your favorite dish?
Right.
Yeah.
What if you had said something like pumpkin
you roll your
pie?
eyes. Yeah.
That would have been boring.
You should have said turkey.
I actually think, don't you think most of the questions are boring? I mean, how much did we spend a first minute on the challenge and how it affects your timeouts? I mean, that's exciting stuff.
But so now you're ripping my first question again.
People back. Yeah. There's got to be people that turn the radio off at 12:52 today when we were in the middle of that. I mean, they'd rather talk about your Thanksgiving dish and what you do for hobbies and everything else.
You taking the Patriots or the Chiefs this week?
I'm always on the Pats.
Attaboy.
Let's go. Hey, and by the way, I think haven't we heard this song and dance before with the Pats? Oh man, they took a loss. Occasionally good teams lose. Yeah. And then they figure it out, and then at the end they're always standing there.
Yeah, but this year it's different.
Yeah, something's different about the old guy. Yeah.
Do you have any players that you might want to?
I heard that when I moved here in 2013.
That's right. 7 years. Yeah,
we're keeping them on their toes. Yeah. Do you have any players you want to lend out that could maybe play receiver this weekend? Pats are in the market for one. So if you got anybody that...
Oh, are they? Do they have some guys out? They have some guys hurt?
Yeah, they have guys who aren't that good.
Everybody said it. They need help. That's what they're saying. Yeah.
They got weeks to get better. They'll get better. That's what they do over there. I'm not getting caught up in the pessimism with regard to the Patriots. I've seen this story before.
You should have them on your pregame, Beetle.
That's good. Yep. That's good, right. Coach. You got a real positive attitude about this. Appreciate your time as always.
Good luck.
Have a great afternoon, guys. See you.
All right. Brad Stevens joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline.